Hey everybody, Alonzo here with GulfCoastSmoke.com, and today we're making pumpkin pie. So with Thanksgiving just 3 days away, I figured it's the perfect time to bring you guys this recipe. I love turkey, I love ham, I love everything about Thanksgiving, but my personal favorite part is all the desserts in the end. And today we're going to show you how easy it is to make a delicious pumpkin pie. We're going to start by grating a cold stick of butter. And with this recipe, we want this butter to stay cold. So once we're done, we'll put this back in the refrigerator for about 5 to 10 minutes to make sure it stays that way. We're going to start with 1 1/3 cups of plain white flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to go back in with our cold stick of butter that we grated. And we're going to work this together with our fingers. About 45 seconds later, this is the consistency that we're looking for. So the larger the pieces of fat in this pie crust, the flakier it's going to be. And we don't want that today. We want this to be more mealy because we're making the pumpkin pie. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of ice cold water to this mixture. And then we're going to continue to mix. So once we added the water, we just wanted to be able to form a disc with this dough. Now we'll wrap this in plastic wrap and we'll put it back in the refrigerator for another 10 minutes. So you'll notice that we use just 2 tablespoons of ice cold water in order to get this dough consistency the way that we wanted, but you personally might need to add more. You just basically want to make sure that this dough forms into a ball and it's not too crumbly. My wife put a recipe on our website, I'll link it down below. It gives you a little bit more tips on how to get this dough the right consistency, as well as some pie crust designs if you guys are interested in taking it to the next level. Now we have our sanitized workstation. I'm going to throw a little bit of flour down, put the pie crust here, and throw a little bit of flour on top of that. So we're going to roll forward, we're going to roll backward, then we're going to rotate, forward, backwards, rotate. And at this point, you don't really need to keep rotating anymore. Just spread it out as needed. And it's okay that this is cracking. Don't worry about that at all. In the end, we can pinch it together. Every time we make this pie crust, it pretty much looks like this, and it always turns out delicious. And when all is said and done, this is what you want your pie crust to look like. So from here, I'm just going to roll it around my pin. My wife's going to help me. And then we're just going to drape it over this. Oh, and I'll fix this up real quick. So at this point, all I'm doing is making sure that the dough doesn't have any cracks. There's definitely going to be a few. It's really not a huge deal. Just get some excess dough and make sure that you pinch everything together as best you can. So now I'm just getting a fork and I'm pressing it on the outside here. This is just for looks. You don't have to do it, or you could crimp the edges. You can do it any way you'd like. So now we're just going to cover this in plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes to an hour. And we're just making sure that this is completely chilled before we put it in the oven. In the meantime, we're going to make this pie filling, and it's almost time to bake. For our pie filling, we're going to start with a 15.5 ounce can of 100% pure pumpkin, a 12 ounce can of evaporated milk, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 3/4 cup of sugar, and 2 eggs, no shells. We're going to whisk this up until everything is nice and incorporated. So now I'm just going to poke holes in the bottom of this crust. Then we're going to pour in our pie mixture. So now we're going to put this into a 425 degree oven for 15 minutes. Then we'll drop the temperatures down to 350 for another 40 to 50 minutes, or until you could poke the pie filling with a toothpick and it comes out clean. So after 2 hours of rest on my kitchen counter, this pumpkin pie is ready to get into. You do want to let it rest at room temperature for at least 2 hours just to make sure that everything sets. The pumpkin pie filling is pretty loose. We just want it to set all the way. Now it's time for a bite. Too good. Some of that whipped cream. That makes it even better. I could probably eat this whole thing just while I'm staring at the camera right now. It really is delicious. It really is simple. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. I'm thankful for family. I'm thankful for friends. And I'm thankful for everybody that watches all of our videos. We really appreciate you guys. As always, I really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.